Hey, what's going on, faithful? Thanks for joining us on the Niners news update this week. Obviously, it is the bye week, the most stress-free week of the football season for us Niner fans. We get to sit back and watch the rest of the NFL beat each other up this weekend, so that'll be exciting. We are coming into the bye red hot after a beatdown of the Los Angeles Rams, making that now 8 straight wins over the Rams in the regular season. Jimmy Garoppolo 8-0 against the Rams in the regular season, and Kyle Shanahan, with the exception of last year's NFC Championship game, continues to be Sean McVay's daddy. So, although, just real quick, I do want to get into this. Just speaking of McVay, thoughts and prayers go out to the McVay family because Sean's grandfather, John McVay, former Niners GM, back when we drafted those Super Bowl teams, he was the coach when Bill Walsh, our legendary coach Bill Walsh, he was part of assembling all those teams to the draft. He tragically passed away yesterday, and obviously John McVay is Sean McVay's grandfather. So thoughts and prayers to the McVay family right now as well. Obviously coming off a rough week for Sean McVay because earlier in the week, he got demolished, or his team got demolished 31-14 by the Niners. Not really a huge surprise because we beat them earlier in the season, 24-13, was I believe what the score was. So we've now officially swept the Rams this season, and we are officially now 3-0 against the division. So that's definitely good so far. We still do have 3 divisional games as well, 2 against the Cardinals and 1 against the Seahawks.
I mean, division's wide open still, really. Yeah.
Seahawks right now. We were in first, but the Seahawks have now moved into first with a 5-3 record. Obviously, we're 4-4 in second place. Rams are 3-4, and then Arizona 3-5. But yeah, it still is absolutely wide open. Let's talk about the game a little bit here. So for the game, I mean, we've got to give props where they're due. I mean, I know that a lot of the faithful, I mean, it's probably like a 60-40 split between, if you like Jimmy or if you don't like Jimmy. You've got to admit he played a good game. I mean, and that wasn't all checkdowns. He was throwing the ball down the field. I mean, Jimmy's deep ball has progressively gotten better throughout the season. I know that's always been a knock. He's got some more guys to throw downfield now with Ayuk getting better and Ray McLeod. I mean, he had a drop a couple weeks ago where he hit Charlie Warner right up the seam in the hands, and Charlie just dropped the ball. It was a perfect throw. But Jimmy's deep ball accuracy definitely improving. Jimmy having the best game I've ever seen him have, going 21-25, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 3 times, but, that's not too surprising against the Rams. His QBR, 81.1, rating 132.5. I mean, a good QBR is around 50 or 60. His was 81.1.
This isn't a serious comment, but you know who did better than him and every other quarterback in the league this week?
Who?
In terms of rating? Christian McCaffrey. Got 100 QBR and a 158.3 rating.
Well, it's hard to compete when you throw one deep ball and it's a touchdown. And
I know, that's why I said this isn't a serious thing, but
but that is the perfect rating. The 158.3 is the perfect rating that you strive for. You know who didn't have a perfect rating or QBR?
Matt Stafford.
Matty Stafford was 22 of 33, 180. He didn't even get 200 yards.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell happened.
187, 1 touchdown, no picks, sacked twice. I mean, and again, they didn't run well. They ran 21 times for 56 yards. I mean, we held them to 2.7 yards a carry.
They didn't do anything well, really, if you look at the stats. No. And it doesn't not passing, rushing,
even stuffing the ball to Cooper Kupp only got him 79 yards. 8 catches on 12 targets.
I mean, that's good. That's great numbers, but not enough.
Yeah, I know. Allen Robinson did get more involved with 5 catches, 54 yards. Christian McCaffrey, though, like I said, Jimmy had a great game. You definitely got to give it up to him, whether you're a fan of Jimmy personally or not. I mean, you're a Niners fan if you're watching this podcast, so I mean, you got to respect it. I mean, sure, the man's limited, but it's hard to really shit talk that. I mean, you've got to just be a hater at that point. But if he's going to be outdone by anybody on that roster, it had to be CMC. I mean, McCaffrey's only been here 2 weeks, and in his second game, he throws a 34-yard touchdown pass to Ayuk. He runs 18 times for 94 yards and scores a rushing touchdown. And he catches 8 passes for 55 yards and has a receiving touchdown. So
the trifecta.
He really did it all. Yeah.
Trifecta.
He got the touchdown triple crown for sure. Ayuk, for the third straight week, had 5 or more catches and 80-plus yards. He had 6 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Ayuk continues to be one of the most consistent players that we've had for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And we needed him to be because we were without, there was no Juwan Jennings, no Deebo Samuel in this game. And Deebo's our Rams killer. So you're like, how are we going to beat the Rams without Deebo? And,
right.
Well, we've never had Christian McCaffrey before.
Yeah.
And obviously he kind of filled the role of our Deebo Samuel. Obviously, got to give it up to Jeff Wilson in his last game as a Niner. Thank you, Jeff, for everything that you did for us over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, Jeff Wilson, through 8 games, was our leading rusher with 468 yards. He had 4 carries for 14 yards in his last game as a Niner. Also 2 catches for 21 yards. It was announced at the trade deadline he was traded to former Niner OC Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. So they now get our second running back in about a year after we sent them Raheem in the offseason. So definitely wanted to take a moment to thank Jeff for everything that he's done for the 49er franchise. He's stepped up a lot while we've had injuries. You know, obviously an undrafted player. Was never really supposed to be the lead back for the Niners. And I mean, whenever we called upon him, he did great things for us. So, love you, El Jefe. Hope you have a good time in Miami enjoying those margaritas and warm sandy beaches. Kittle, second straight week with a touchdown, 3 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown. So after starting off slow, he's been getting a little bit more involved in the offense. And Ross the Boss Dwelly, 1 catch for 56 yards. So Ross hasn't caught many passes on the season, but you know, he just caught a bomb right there. So that's pretty much the top offensive performers. On the defensive side, we had Nick Bosa getting a sack and a half, which now brings him into a tie with Matt Judon with 8.5. So he's tied for the league lead. And, of course, worth noting, he's only done that in 7 games. He did miss 1 game with a groin injury. So he's done it in 1 less game than Matt Judon. And then Fred Warner also had 12 tackles and a half sack. So he played pretty well in addition defensively. And, I mean, our whole defense played pretty well. I mean, the Rams scored 14 points in the first half. And then
absolutely nothing the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Can't ask for better than that. Shit.
Yeah. I mean, we came in with the number 1 ranked defense a couple weeks ago. We got humiliated by Kansas City, and we got humiliated by Atlanta on the defensive side of the ball. They just pushed us around. They just bullied us around on the line of scrimmage. So it was good to come in there and get a win and, you know, really just like bully the other team. Obviously, the Rams are last year's Super Bowl champs, and we've swept them.
Yeah.
So if we see the Rams again this season, it's going to be the playoffs. But if the season ended right now, the Rams aren't in the playoffs because they're struggling. They're struggling. Also in that game, Robbie Gould moving into 11th place all time on the NFL scoring list. You know, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Robbie, 11th all time. With he made 1 field goal from 29 yards and 4 extra points. So he scored 7 points in that game. And yeah, I mean, I wish I still had Robbie as my kicker for fantasy. It would have helped me out this week, although I still would have lost. Because I had Evan McPherson, he's a great kicker, but he misses his 1 field goal, has an extra point blocked, and then he makes his other one. You know, so he got me 0 points because he missed the field goal and the extra point.
That sucks.
So at least I would have gotten 7 points out of Robbie. But Robbie 11th all time continues to be very consistent. Robbie Maddock, I'm sure he'll probably move up another spot or two by the time he hangs it up. You know, our 39-year-old kicker.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, that's really what I have to say about the game. I mean, like I said, you know, continued domination of the Rams. which you love to see. Probably one of our most dominating wins of the season besides the Carolina game. Best game we've seen Jimmy play. Really happy to have CMC. And this is what the Niners team is potentially going to look like after the bye week. I mean, these are all players expected back after the bye. I mean, this is like a who's who of, good players. There's nobody on this list that's not an impact player or a starter. You've got Elijah Mitchell, who was our starter. Obviously, now Christian McCaffrey may be the starter. But, I mean, Elijah Mitchell's going to come back and have something to say about that, I would imagine. I mean, he's going to be working hard for carries.
It'll be a competition, I assume. Or they'll use them both equally and save some, keep both rested.
Or they'll do that thing, which I like, where I think that Washington needs to do this more, where they line, like, McCaffrey up at the receiver and have Mitchell in the backfield. I like when Washington does that with Robinson and Gibson. I think
Definitely.
Gives the defense more things to be aware of. So we've got Elijah Mitchell coming back, who hasn't played since week 1. Jason Verrett, cornerback, is expected back after not playing since week 1 of last season against the Lions when he tore his ACL. Deebo Samuel, after missing 1 game with a hammy, is expected back. Which, Deebo's our best offensive... Well, is Deebo still our best offensive weapon with CMC?
Yeah, well, that remains to be seen. We'll have to see how it goes. It's only one game that is
this
that
season,
great.
Kittle and Ayuk might have something to say about best offensive weapon, too. I mean, It's like, we got a lot of them. And then maybe your best offensive weapon is big-ass Trent Williams, who makes it all happen. Because anything you run to that side of the line, the left side, is going to be pretty much open for business. Juwan Jennings, who missed last week's game. I mean, we were really playing with basically just Ayuk and Ray McLeod at receiver and Danny Gray last week. We didn't have many guys left out there, but we still got the win. Dre Greenlaw, expected to come back, our starting linebacker. Juszczyk is expected to be back after missing 1 week with the fucking broken finger. Yeah, that thing was intense. They actually posted a pretty entertaining Halloween picture. It's McCaffrey, Jimmy, Kittle, and Juice, and they're all dressed up. Jimmy's a cowboy. We'll put it up on the screen because I have it saved. But yeah, it was pretty hilarious that they did. They all dressed up and did like a team Halloween thing. But you can tell like Juice's finger is like totally still like in the splint. He's like still got like the little. It's all wrapped up and everything. And we're also expecting this guy back. He's been out with foot and ankle injuries all season long. Eric Armstead has only played in 3 games. We're expecting him back as well. So that would be a big get because obviously we've been playing without him and Javon Kinlaw, who are our top 2 defensive tackles. Probably why teams have been able to run as well against us the last couple weeks, but definitely be great to get Armstead back. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to have a game to recap next week, but I'm sure there will be some Niner-related news that we'll talk about, so join us next week as we cover that. And, check out our other segments as well. Obviously, there's a lot going on in Washington, so, if you're interested in NFL stuff with
there
potential
is.
change in ownership, check that out. Also, like and subscribe for weekly 49ers and NFL content, because if it happens, we'll be talking about it.
Definitely.
See ya. And that's going to do it for the Extra Point Show this week. Make sure that you subscribe if you're not already. It really helps us out and helps us grow. Give us a like as well.
Absolutely. And if you're a Washington fan or a San Francisco fan, make sure to always check out the Commanders Countdown and the Niners News Update.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all next week.
See you next week.